What's up, everybody? I'm back and bigger than ever. I know I took a little long break, but that doesn't matter. I'm back. I'm finally back, and I'm doing a full season. This is going to be insane. I want to thank everybody who subscribed. I want to thank these two comments that inspired me to do these videos. We'll do the topic of the video, and you know what it is. You read the title. You saw the thumbnail. What if Ezekiel was on Team Chris? So how this would work is that episode 1, I'm just going to say that Ezekiel's at least going to try to be nice to people. I know this isn't like, what if Ezekiel wins video, but, you know, for the story to work, Ezekiel has to be somewhat nice. So, like, he's not going to be overbearing and rude like he was in the original. He's going to be at least a decent person. And so Chris, when he comes back, Chris just tells him, fine, go on Team Me. And so, yeah, also, Ezekiel coming back, it won't change the Izzy and Sierra switch, and it will not change Duncan quitting. So, episode 2, I don't really think Ezekiel would change much since he cannot lose the GOAT anymore. But I do think someone will lose the stick, and I think it's going to be Lindsay. Because when Harold says his line, Lindsay's going to have the idea of losing the stick. She loses the stick to the crocodile. And then their team's obviously going to try to vote for her. But Tyler's not happy with this. And Ezekiel realizes this and he feels bad for Tyler. So he's going to try, do horribly at it, but try to help Tyler. And because of that, Tyler actually will care about Ezekiel. He won't just ignore him like everybody else on his entire team. Because Alejandro's not going to view Ezekiel as a threat. No one on this team takes Ezekiel seriously. Maybe Owen, but that's just because Owen's a nice guy. So when it comes down to the elimination, I think Chris is going to say, because let's be honest, the only reason there was an elimination this episode is because it was Ezekiel. So I think Chris is going to say, well, since we already have Duncan out, Lindsay's actually safe. And Tyler's going to be relieved, Ezekiel's going to be relieved, and no elimination for the challenge. Also, Team Amazon still wins. Episode 3. I honestly think everything's going to go the exact same. The first challenge, the second challenge, probably exact same. Even when it comes down to the elimination. But one thing that's different is, I think Ezekiel's going to start to catch on. Ezekiel's really dim-witted. He's really dumbfounded. But he doesn't have a lot of friends. So he's going to will look around people. And he probably try it since seeing Alejandro's a nice guy. But he might start to catch on. Just a tiny little smudge. And him and Tyler are going to start talking about it. Also, this is where, like, Noah and Owen are going to start to mistrust Ollie. Well, basically, Noah's not going to want Owen to be with Izzy. That's still happening. But yeah, so Harold self-sacrifices because of Alejandro's convincing. But, you know, they're going to take note of that. Because probably Lashana would be like, Harold was going to vote himself off or something. Episode 4, honestly, it's going to be a little different. Like, obviously, the same teams are probably going to win the first challenge, you know. It doesn't really matter. I do think Alejandro's going to manipulate Bridget, but he outright did it in front of everybody. And something that bothered me in the original is no one noticed or said anything about it. It was just from there on, he just did it. Izzy didn't say anything. Izzy's a girl. Like, Noah didn't say anything. Tyler didn't. No one said anything about that. So I think it's at the least going to expect Ezekiel's suspicion, since he already was kind of suspicious of him for the Harold elimination. I do still think Bridget's going to go. Alright, episode 7, because episode 5 is an elimination, and episode 6 is Aftermath. Episode 7 is going to go differently. Very, very differently. I still think, like, the reward is just outfits for, like, the second challenge. So, like, the first part of the challenge doesn't really matter. But the second part, for the actual challenge part, I think here's who's going to play. I think it's going to be DJ and Lashana against Alejandro, Noah, and Ezekiel. No, Alejandro, Noah, and Owen. And then it's going to be Heather, Sierra, and Cody. Now, I think first matchup's going to be this. Owen against Heather, DJ, Lashana up against Noah, I guess. DJ up against Ali. It doesn't really matter the first round. Kind of does. I think Sierra's going to beat Noah, so Noah's out, so that leaves 2 people. I also think DJ's going to lose to Alejandro, and Heather's going to beat Owen. So that leaves Lashana, Alejandro, and Heather. Who would Cody? I guess I forget who Cody played. Who did Cody play? I actually kind of forget. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to say it's going to be left down to Sierra, Lashana, Heather, and Alejandro. So Heather against Lashana, and Sierra against Alejandro. Now, here's where it's going to get interesting. When Alejandro says seize the day, and Heather's going to say is not on the team, and Ezekiel's going to say, dudes, like, Ezekiel's going to say something that's going to tick Heather off and says, shut up, homeschool. And Ezekiel says, that's it. I've had enough. And he's going to pounce on Heather, causing her to go to the floor, and he's going to give her a smackdown. Kind of like how Lashana did. But no, this is Zeke's time. Zeke is going to slap Heather to hell in the back. Obviously, he won't be as strong as Lashana and make her 2 fall out. But, he's still going to give her a good smackdown, causing people finally start to respect Ezekiel. Because he's mad. He's like, I'm done. I'm not just homeschool. You can't keep treating me like this. He's going to smack down Heather, causing Team Amazon to lose. Now, who I think would actually win would be interesting. I think it's going to be like Alejandro versus Lashana. And I also kind of think that Tyler would try to warn Lashana about Alejandro. So given with this and like the fact that Ezekiel wanted to smack down him, I think Lashana will start to see Alejandro's ruse. Not like completely, but the little flick of a light switch. It doesn't really matter who wins, like Heather against Lashana against Alejandro. I think Alejandro would just take herself out. And so, yeah, it's Team Amazon who has to vote now. And everybody's going to be pretty ticked at Heather, basically. But Heather's also going to say, like, Sierra was there too. How come she lost Alejandra? I got shoved off. And they're going to realize that. So Cody will be absolutely fine with voting Sierra off. And he's probably going to beg Gwen to do it. 3 votes for Sierra. Sierra, go. Bye-bye. Episode 9. Well, first episode 8, since it's an elimination, we're not going to worry about that. Nothing really big would happen. The only thing I would say is since Alejandro's trusting made Owen only trust him, you think he'd mention that to anybody. It's really weird, but we're just kind of gloss over it a little, put it into that little corner of not gonna talk about it. Anyways, episode 9. Who I think's gonna win this challenge? This challenge actually, I think is gonna have to go to Team Victory. Here's why. Lindsay actually was going to finish before everybody else if DJ hadn't run the cart into her. And I think Lashana's going to force DJ to do it. He's going to say, I don't care about the anal thing. You're helping us. So with all these 3 combined, they're probably going to win. And we know that Team Amazon gets first in the original, so here they would get second. Plus with Cody's help, since he's not worrying about Sierra. And also, Ezekiel's probably not the sharpest tool in the shed. I think Team Chris is going to lose. So, who do I think is going to get eliminated from Team Chris? Who crashed the plane? Who smashed DJ's mummy doll? Well, I don't really think that would happen. I mean, it kind of could, and that could kind of set Tyler off because, DJ's on Lindsay's team, Also, yeah, Lindsay would remember Tyler. I know she wouldn't remember it, but just the fact that he tried would get Lindsay, maybe he would remember her there. It was a really dumb plot point anyways. So I think Alejandro's going to use this to vote Izzy out, since he already knows there's starting a little bit small suspicion against him. And honestly, Noah's down. Noah didn't really like Izzy. Owen's going to be sad, though, to see Izzy go. It's really going to be hard for Owen, sad. Owen, be sad. Oops. So, yeah, Izzy goes. Owen's kind of depressed right now. And Alejandro is going to use that against him. You will see. But for now, here's how it goes. First part of this challenge does not really matter. All they win is helmets. Helmets does not help for the actual challenge part, if you want to call it that. So, who I think will win the second part of the challenge, well, I think the pairs are going to be Lindsay and Lashana, and just DJ on his own. Heather and Courtney and Gwen and Cody. Yeah, Gwen still could be in the ER, but they're going to probably need her. And even if, I don't think Cody would just go on his own. Also, I think the plane will crash, but I don't think Owen's going to fall out of it. Also, I know this has nothing to do with the theory, but I love the way, that season 3 Oh My Izzy tributes to Owen and Gwen's relationship from season 1. Gwen is genuinely sad to see Owen talking about how his girlfriend left him. That is so emotional. And just, why Gwen? It's just so, I like it, but it's so random. Izzy's elimination is really random as well. She just leaves. But now that Izzy's not here, there won't be a double elimination. Anyways, that doesn't really matter. Back to what I was actually talking about. I think Alejandro's going to play the same move, except Ezekiel notices. Ezekiel finally sees it. He sees it. He has finally full-edged proof. But he's going to, because I think it's going to go DJ, Lashana and Lindsay, DJ, Heather and Cody, Gwen and Courtney, Heather and Courtney, Gwen and Cody, Heather and Courtney, Owen and Noah, Tyler and Ezekiel, and Alejandro. And since Alejandro is going last, he can destroy the track before DJ goes. So DJ is going to fail, causing the other teammates to vote him off. It's very sad for DJ. He got manipulated by Alejandro. But honestly, I think he's going to be probably happy to go. Because you know how he wanted to go? He can vote himself off. Finally has a reason. Because, the Irie thing's not going to happen since there's not one person on DJ's team. So, I don't really know if the animal herding montage on this ride thing would still happen. Episode 13. This one, because now, normally the free teams would be dissolved by now, but because they're not, it's going to make things much more complicated for me specifically. But, yeah, here's how I'm going to do it. Alejandro still gets captured first. I'm just going to put all the captured people in this little slot. And then they continue on. But now Cody isn't going to get captured with Sierra. I do think that when they go to the stripping down part, they're going to make Ezekiel do it. Ezekiel's Ezekiel. They're going to force him to do it. Gwen's still going to do it. They're still going to find the clue. And I think they're going to continue on. And at the stretching board, Now they won't forget Tyler because Ezekiel's there. Ezekiel's close with Tyler. They will not forget Tyler. And also, I don't think they can't get captured, either of them. Also, just so you know, the Jack the Ripper guy, it's not going to be Ezekiel anymore. Obviously, I think it's just going to be Chef. And I could see Chef doing that kind of thing. So, yeah. Team Amazon, honestly, I don't really know who would go. I still think Heather's going to watch out and then go. And then I think Ezekiel's going to get chased by the dogs. And they're going to try to find something to help him. But he's going to get captured as well. And also, I think in the dog room, Lindsay's going to get captured as well. So this is what the teams look like. And you know what? It looks almost like the original. And I think at some point, Cody and Tyler are going to get captured. So just Owen, it's just these 5 left. And I think all 5 of them are going to try to go to the double-decker bus. Because Cody's going to be like, why don't we go to the double-decker bus? Because that does not make sense, your idea. So instead of finding Duncan, they go to the double-decker bus. So they carry on. Lashana's going on her own team, just by herself for no reason. All 3 of them make it, and Cody just gets captured at this point. And all 3 of them try to win, and I don't really think it matters who wins. It matters who loses. And that's going to be Team Victory. The reason I say that is because Lashana's a one person, and I do think if Owen smells up the place, yeah, that's going to stink really bad. And Lashana's not going to be able to handle that at all. So, for the tiebreaker, I think Chris and the producers are going to say that they heard sightings of Duncan. So, that's going to be their tie. If you find Duncan, you win. And if you don't, in like 1 hour, I guess, you're both going home. So, I think Lindsay and Lashana both have connections to Courtney. Well, Lindsay has connections to the fact that Duncan did so good in the rock and roll band. So she's going to know that he's at rock and roll. And Lashana knows because of Courtney. But I think Lindsay's just going to follow Lashana. I know she's not the smartest. Or maybe Lashana goes to the wrong concert. I don't know. There can be many concerts in London. Maybe Duncan talked about it to Lindsay on, like, when they were watching the movie that he likes rock and roll and something like that. I think Lindsay's going to win, causing Lashana to go home. And Lindsay's going to tell Chris she found Duncan. She found Duncan. So guess who's coming back on Team Amazon's team? Now you might be thinking, why would I say that? Who got Duncan? Second place. Who got in second place? Team Amazon. I know I didn't say that, but we know Owen and Noah had the capability to catch Ezekiel. And I think Ezekiel, with all his hunting skills, would be better than Chef. So I think they're going to be able to capture him. So, Duncan is now on Team Amazon. And we are going to be talking about episode 14. Because it's never revealed if this was an elimination or not. Because Duncan just gets if it weren't Duncan, and if we're like Tyler per se, would Duncan have seen it? Who knows? I will never know. We are just going to assume, because they still have to make up for the Ezekiel elimination and the double elimination for episode 11. So, here's how this episode's going to play out. This is going to be very complicated. I think the first part of the challenge is going to be these three against each other. And I think Lindsay's actually going to win this one. Sorry, I keep missing this. It's going to be these three against each other. The reason I say Tyler saw Duncan and Gwen kiss. He knows the kiss still happened. Tyler still sees it. And Tyler is going to be worried about it the entire time. So Duncan's going to be stressing Tyler out. All of that while this happens. The two aren't going to realize that Lindsay secretly takes back it. Because Duncan's going to get beat up by the bear. And Duncan says, you better not do it. It was going to stress Tyler out the entire time. Also, Tyler's a sim for Lindsay, so he's going to let Lindsay have this one. So Lindsay gets a win. Second part of the challenge, the bra. It's going to be Gwen, Lindsay, obviously, and Owen. So, and then obviously I think they're going to beat Lindsay. So they start to kind of transform it into a 2v2. Because Owen's going to want Noah to get in this action. And Courtney's going to be brought into this action. Because this is the point where Alejandro tells Tyler to spill the secret about what the secret is. Sure, he might not have enough information. Since, you can't really be there to see it happen. But, you get the gist of it. So Alejandro is going to say that, and then Courtney's going to start fighting Gwen, causing Owen to jump on top of them and win. I don't think he's going to get 2 medals this time, and there's a very specific reason, which we will talk about next challenge, which is Heather, Alejandro versus Lindsay. And I think Alejandro doesn't want to lose this, but he also wants to make sure Heather doesn't lose this. So Alejandro realizes that it's going to end up to be a tiebreaker, and he doesn't really know who the tiebreaker person will be, but he's going to see the odds and tackle Lindsay to the ground so Heather could win. Well, maybe not tackle, maybe we'll just use his good luck charm to cause Lindsay to stop. This is going to get Tyler furious at Alejandro, and this is where the story of this season is going to start to come into fray. So because of this, there's a tiebreaker, and there's no way Lindsay could win. Maybe they're going to have Cody, I guess, be the person, since Cody didn't participate in any of the challenges, which is sad and pathetic, because that's just who Cody is. Sad and pathetic. And they're going to have Ezekiel because he's the only one who hasn't participated yet. And Lindsay's just going to do her own team. And Lindsay is going to lose because we know Cody has the capability of winning. There's probably just going to be 2 medals. First person to get the medal. And I'm going to say in a stroke of luck, Ezekiel will win. Finally proving himself to the team. After 13 episodes. Over halfway through this season, Ezekiel has finally claimed his royal throne as a member of the team. And Lindsay goes home. Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. This is going to get Tyler really mad at Alejandro. But we can't focus about that now. We have to focus on episode 15. And Courtney is furious at Gwen, but Alejandro's going to start putting his plan against Gwen. Because Noah does not trust Alejandro, and he needs to make sure Owen's there to help him. Kind of like how Duncan did in episode 17, but better and bigger. And he wants everybody on his team to be against Alejandro. So what will happen is that Team Amazon, Courtney's going to realize she wants to lose, but Alejandro's going to tell her, if you lose, they're probably going to end up voting you, since these 3 are on the team. So they'll probably aim for Courtney, since Duncan and Gwen don't like Courtney, and Cody is a simp for Gwen. I'm saying that, and it's true. I do think that they're going to find, the space box thing, but they're also, Team Amazon is now going to find the portal, and they're going to have to bring it back fast. Probably faster than Team Chris. Owen's still going to get abducted. Tyler's still going to be worried about him. But now, Alejandro is going to find Tyler and Ezekiel, because they probably went together, and he's going to promise that what Duncan did, that he won't vote for them. So they're forced to agree to. So yeah, kind of sucks. And Alejandro tells them that they should vote off Owen. Oh yeah, Team Amazon wins, and Alejandro says because Owen got captured, they should tell them to vote off Owen because Owen wasn't there for the challenge, and they had to carry Owen, causing them to lose. Ezekiel's going to agree with this. Tyler is not, but he knows he can't vote off Alejandro with Owen and Noah because of the deal he made. So instead, he is going to vote for Noah in hopes that since it's a tie, Owen will win. Sadly, Owen does not win, because I think it's just going to be the laser dance from the Aftermath challenge, and Owen is too big for that, and Alejandro is too flexible for that. Sadly, Owen goes, which is so sad to see, kinda. Now, Alejandro has lost Owen and Lindsay. It only gets worse for my man from here. Episode 16. I forget where this takes place. It doesn't matter. Alright, so the emo ride. Let's see. Now that Owen's not there, they're gonna have more time, because these guys are probably gonna be easy to get on emus. Duncan and Cody are still gonna have their little feud, and Gwen needs to make sure that does not happen, and that they stay in line. So, Team Chris is actually going to win this, since we saw they had the capability of winning. Sure, Duncan and Owen aren't there, but Owen just slowed them down for the emo thing, so now they have even more time. I don't really know if Cody's going to get dizzy. I don't really think it really matters in the narrative, because here's what I think is going to happen. Gwen's going to say, alright, this is our chance to get Courtney eliminated. We'll vote Courtney out, and Cody agrees. They're going to vote for Courtney, because I don't think Cody's going to get dizzy this time, because Duncan realizes that Gwen's going to make sure that Duncan doesn't hurt Cody, since they need Cody. But Duncan isn't having any of this anymore. He is going to get Heather to vote for Cody for him, because Duncan has a decision. He can either get rid of the dork or his ex, and I think Duncan is going to get rid of Cody, because how much he's been ignoring him, making him fight kangaroos, and being a simp for Gwen. He's not having any of it anymore. She's going to convince Heather, saying Cody's the weakest one. He's not good for our team. We should vote him out. And Heather is going to very, very reluctantly agree. Also, Alejandro is still hitting on Courtney. I don't think Duncan would have the whole being sad thing, but, it's still going to happen. And now I think Noah's going to start realizing Alejandro is just going from girl to girl. First it was Bridget, then Lashana, Lindsay. He just does not stop. So, yeah. It's going to be a tie between Courtney and Cody. And we know Courtney did good in this challenge. So Cody is eliminated. He'd probably get an allergy burst, just like Gwen, because he has so many allergies. It's Merge Day. Now you might be wondering why Blanley isn't here, but there's an odd number of people, so Blanley can't be introduced in this episode yet, which is very weird, because the Aftermath still happens, but Chris is like, no, you can't have it just yet. I do think the pairs from the original are going to stay the same, like Courtney, Duncan. Here's where it's gonna get funny. I'm gonna pair Ezekiel with Gwen and Tyler with Noah. I just think it's funny that Ezekiel's with Gwen, even though Gwen was like the first person to insult him in the original. Not the first, but she was so not trying to be rude here. That whole thing. I do think Courtney and Duncan are still going to win, because Alejandro still has a lot of allies. Also, one thing to mention, Alejandro is slowly creeping Ezekiel more to him and away from Tyler. Bit by bit by bit. And Tyler is going to be nervous about this. So Alejandro's going to realize he has Courtney, he has Heather, he has Ezekiel. He thinks he has Tyler, but he knows Noah is a threat. And so there's going to be kind of like a tribe of Alejandro hate between Duncan and Noah's rivalry, though. Duncan and Noah hate each other. Gwen is not keen on Noah, but he knows he doesn't like Alejandro, so they're going to team up together to agree to make sure Alejandro goes down. So who I think is going to win? I think it's going to be Courtney and Duncan. the reason I say this is because they won in the original, and, you know, I don't think any pair is going to be stable to do this besides Alejandro and Heather. Because, you know, Ezekiel and Gwen, you think that's going to work? You think your little Tyler and Noah shipping is going to work? I don't know what you crazy people think of. So, yeah, who I think is going to get eliminated? I'm going to think Courtney's going to beg for Alejandro for Gwen to go. She's been sick of Gwen. Gwen has been here for too long. So that's 3 votes against Gwen. Because Heather's fine with voting Gwen. She's happy about it. Alejandro's going to convince Ezekiel to vote with Gwen. And this is where the Ezekiel, because Alejandro now realizes Ezekiel's a wimp. He has barely any friends. Heather is not going to be keen about this. Probably because he got slapped out of the face by Ezekiel. Tyler's not going to be happy about this. But he's going to oblige to vote for Gwen because, hey, it's not him. So sadly, Gwen gets the blue boot and gets replaced by the devil formed herself, Blaney. In episode 20, here's how I think it's going to go down. I think everybody, probably except for Courtney, since she gets hit by the bomb, and Blaney are going to get eliminated. Because Blaney doesn't have the chef. She just thinks someone's going to join her alliance. No, she's going to be too late for the gong. Everybody else, however, I think this is going to do pretty well. We know Alejandro and Duncan can make it. We know Heather can make it. And now we know Heather can make it, and that was in her really bad shoes. Tyler would probably make it. Noah would probably make it. Ezekiel, I don't know, maybe he'd ride the donkey. Maybe he'd still be his animal his true inner self has. So, who I think is going to win the second part? I think Ezekiel, Tyler, and Heather are all going to get out. I'm just going to put a list of everybody who's out. I think this is and it's going to remain these 3, and because Courtney's going to cheat, but Heather's going to start to realize it, so Courtney's going to have to wear the mask. And Noah is smart. He's going to be scheme-malicious. So he's going to tell Duncan that Alejandro says something about his mohawk. Duncan gets mad at Alejandro and starts beefing with him, giving Noah enough time to win the challenge. So that's going to be his big brain move. So Noah wins, and who I think is going to get booted, I think they're going to look at it. Duncan's going to be like, all right, that was not cool, but right now, I want Courtney to go. Noah can agree with this. Courtney's pretty awful, everywhere. I think they're going to get Tyler on their side, and I think these 4, Heather's going to be like, Blaney sucks. Courtney's going to be like, Blaney sucks. So Ezekiel's going to vote with them, and I think Duncan is going to get Blaney and say, hey, listen, it's either Courtney or you, so make your mark. Blaney's going to realize that and says, fine, I'll vote with you guys. It ends up in a tie. These 2 go home. You know, just that simple. Now, episode 21. Blaney's still going to write about Alejandro, but now there's no Ezekiel. So either a deer or Chef is going to be the animal hunting. Also, Chef doesn't get tortured by Chris by having to wear the hot suit because Blaney never made an alliance with him. Yay! Anyways, it's probably going to be a rabid deer. And I think Alejandro's winning this because, let's be honest, Ezekiel shot his mother in his audition. He's not going to be a good shooter with slingshots because that was with a bow and arrow. I don't know if slingshots are harder to use than a bow and arrow. I've never used either of them. So, but yeah, I think Alejandro's going to probably win. Because we saw last time he had the capability of win. I think he won. Yeah, he won, didn't he? But this time, Alejandro's going to do something even more horrifying than scratching Duncan. He's going to give Duncan Duncan's still going to get covered with the blood berries, causing the deer to come over to him. And Heather's going to try to act like she's getting in the way. and then she's gonna have like a bunch of bloodberries and splash them on her, and it's gonna look like Duncan. The deer attack Heather, which internally is gonna get Ezekiel to not trust Duncan, and through a little manipulation, maybe Alejandro could get Tyler or Noah on his side. Just saying, just putting it out there. And yeah, I think Alejandro's gonna win this challenge since he might steal the balls from Heather. I don't really know. I feel like Tyler and Noah were gonna try to vote off Heather, but then they're like, Heather's still gonna pretend. It's gonna look actually like real. So they're all gonna start to blame Duncan. And I feel like Duncan is going to end up losing the battle because Ezekiel, these three against these three, but maybe with a little negotiation, he can convince either Tyler or Noah. Because I don't know if he can convince Tyler because of the whole Lindsay accident, the whole Owen incident, and same thing with Noah, the whole Owen incident. Like, he's probably going to be like, hey, this guy cheated on his girlfriend, and Tyler, respects ladies. He gets it. So he's going to vote out Duncan. And the reason I'm including episode 22 is because to make up for the double elimination here in episode 11. So, episode 22, it's going to be the bird challenge. And, okay, hear me out. We know Ezekiel has a special bond with animals. Also, do you think if Dawn was in Revenge of the Island, she could have, communicated with Ezekiel? It doesn't really matter. Anyways, I think it would be a fun callback if Ezekiel won the challenge against the hawk, because it doesn't really matter if you win the first challenge, you just get protection, which helps, but even someone like Alejandro couldn't do it. We saw that Heather could do it, but that's because only the eagle was distracted by Cody Jr. So I do think either Ezekiel or Heather are winning. So who I think is going to get eliminated? Well, Ezekiel still, no matter what happens, Ezekiel is still on Alejandro's side. He's fully convinced. But he's starting to see the way Tyler's reacting. Because Tyler has lost Duncan. He's lost Owen, Lindsay. He's starting to realize this. So he's starting to feel a little bad, but he's willing to vote Noah out. Alejandro's plan this entire time has been to manipulate Tyler into breaking down to the point of losing every single friend he ever had. He lost Noah, Duncan, Owen, Lindsay, Ezekiel, except he missed one thing. Ezekiel is a perceptive man who finally sees through and starts to break ties with Alejandro, joining Tyler's side. Episode 23. And I think this episode's very important. Heather and Alejandro are Heather's going to make the chrysolopsis, or whatever what was it? I forget what it was called. And I think that's going to fail miserably. Really fail, since no one here likes Chris. Alejandro's dinosaur, it's real, but I feel like the creativity of Ezekiel and Tyler would probably make them win. I mean, Alejandro made a real dinosaur, yes, but think about it. Ezekiel farm thing, I don't know what he would make, honestly. Probably something sort of like Cody's. Maybe Sierra's. Maybe Tyler makes Sierra's, how Broken Heart, except without the party hat. Because, it's no one's birthday that they know of. So, Heather is probably going to get third. Alejandro gets fourth. Tyler gets second. And Ezekiel gets fourth. And because of that, first. Not fourth. And because of that, Ezekiel is probably going to win the challenge. Tyler's probably going to get second. It doesn't really matter what these two get. When it comes down to the elimination, they know it's a 2v1. And Heather realizes that this is the perfect opportunity to get rid of Alejandro. And this is where the cookie starts to break. Because they have a choice. They can either go with Alejandro getting eliminated or go with Heather. Now, I'm just going to say that Heather's been so rude to Ezekiel this entire time in between the alliance. Tyler wants to get rid of Alejandro. Ezekiel wants to get rid of Heather. But they agree to pretend to get rid of Heather. But then they reveal to Alejandro that Heather's trying to get rid of him. So these three agree to vote Heather off, causing Heather to go home. And like I said in my last World Tour episode, if there's no plane explosion, then it's just a boat ride. So, here's what I think is going to happen. I think Ezekiel's going to realize, because they're near the end of the boat ride, because he's been bashing together. Ezekiel's going to realize everyone that Tyler has lost, and he's going to ram into Alejandro's boat, causing them to hit a bomb. Tyler gets first place, but then they both crash on, and Alejandro is able to swoop in and beat Ezekiel by a tiny hair. Or you could just have the tiebreaker scenario where Alejandro definitely beats Ezekiel. And yeah, the finale would be Tyler versus Alejandro. I think this is an amazing story about betrayal, loss, manipulation. We saw a lot of that manipulation. And it finally gave Zeke justice. He finally did something. Finally. It also gave Tyler justice for everything he lost. So now that we're at the end, I just want to thank you to everybody that stayed here. I'm sadly not going to do the comments thing that I normally do. Honestly, because this video is way too long. I was actually considering it splitting up into parts. And if you want that to happen, please leave a comment. Because this video took a while and it took a long toll on me. I spent probably a long time making this video. Longer than any other video I ever made. You can consider it my 2,000 subscribers special. You can call it whatever you want. But the gist of it is Ezekiel on Team Chris. Goodbye. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Like. Goodbye again.